Since 1999, Nigeria has maintained a power rotation between North and South. This setup did not delineate any micro-zoning arrangements. It is usually thrown open, a situation that has generated varying outcomes, some good, some bad, and some really ugly. Some have argued in favor of competence over zoning, while others insist the presidency needs to go round the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. As 2027 presidential election approaches, is it going to be an all-Southern affair, or is there still time for political surprises? Will fresh constitutional amendments bring about the needed electoral reforms, or will Nigeria's political space continue to roll in a vicious cycle? This is the Eastern Eye. I am Alex Ogbodo. Are here on Afia TV, a program that X-rays the political, social, and economic developments around us. Joining me tonight is Dr. Dele Maxwell Ugwanyi. He's a social commentator. Thank you so much, Dr. Ugwanyi, for joining me tonight on the Eastern Eye. I'm doing fine, and you are brilliant yourself. You're aging backwards.
Aging backward is not a prayer. It's not a good prayer.
All right,
you should age forward.
Yeah, I mean, you are the one turning it on its neck. I know what I had in my mind when I said it. Okay, so are you looking at the whole happenings within the political circles since 1999? There has been subtle arrangement. Some political parties have it in their constitution. They zone it up and down, north and south, and people emerge. And some people are saying, well, that this hasn't actually moved the presidency around the country. Do you think that the one-sided or a straightforward north-south arrangement, has it yielded the right fruit? Have we benefited as a country by merely asking, okay, the North produce a president or the South produce a president?
Well, all these talks are a result of a failed system. It's only in Nigeria here that people will continue to think that it's when a particular position is zoned to my side of the country or with my area of my residence that something can be guaranteed. It has not been so. You know, at the beginning of Nigeria, when we began Nigeria itself by self-rule, 1960, it was not so. Even up to 1979, our lower contested election, but the Southerner was his running mate. Zeke, Southerner. But it wasn't something that people gave serious attention. It was as a result of the fact that mistrust, lack of adequate preparation to govern, it's an all-comers affair. If you take note, you realize that 1979, when we were exiting military rule, people that came to power then were people that, credible people, the kind of Osam Bakwe, the kind of Jim Obodo, the kind of Ambrose Saleh, Adekunle Ajashi, Lateef Jakande, Solomon Ela, Abakarimi. I mean, people that have pedigree, that had track record. They will sit down before you can be nominated for House of Assembly, for House of Rep to Senate. Then the like of Maitama Sule, the like of Bukola Saraki, and so many of them. You need to understand who you are. The public, the people will know you. This is who you are. This person going to represent us. It was a big deal. Adesa Akiloye, Abraham Adesanya, who was the party chairman of MPP, Adesa Akiloye, and all of them. Then you had the man, policy without Britannia, the man from Borno State, I think Ibrahim, somebody who greater NNPP. You know, when he fell out from MPP, he had a greater MPP. You remember Aminu Kano of Talakawa's MPR, then PRP, I mean, they were made up of people with absolute integrity, with track record. But when Babangida came in 1985 and they started banning and unbanning old breeds, new breed, old breed. So At the end of 1993, when the junta was annulled, political class, credible people, they were not even interested in politics again, because they didn't trust the military to hand over as at 1998, 1999. And that is what bets all Tom, Dick, and Harry, everybody started coming. That's when we remember what Salisu Ibrahim said as at 2000, that, he was a senator. He said, most of the people in this Senate.
No, I think it was in House of Reps.
No, Senate. Salisu Ibrahim from Niger State.
Okay, Salisu Ibrahim. Okay,
yes,
sorry.
Former IG. Former IG. So he said, these people, they are made so many senators, there are people he has investigated for fraud, for corrupt, for stealing, for all manners of crime. These are the set of people that found themselves into position of power, 1999. At times they brought governors, you don't even know his track record, just because the real people were tired. They were not sure of military handing over. And they didn't want to be given our Abiola treatment. And that continued the sequence. In Enugu here, Ojebego. Elsewhere, once you are nominated by PDP, whether you are armed robber, whether you are anything. So it's because of that failure of system that everybody now return to their chef, that until my person, my brother, my sister is in position of power, then I won't be able to secure employment, I won't be able to secure admission, I won't be able to get anything from government. And before you know it, it has become something that has occupied our national conversation. Ordinary, those things shouldn't guarantee anything. Go to Ota on the road to Obasanjo's farm. It's one of the worst roads in this country. As you are sitting in Lagos State, from Alabado, Alakoko, down to Ota, to Ifo, the road is impassable. Obasanjo was president for 8 straight years. Just when you move to Ota, you move like this to Munacha Diroko Road onto his farm. You see, so that's where they have Indomie, in this Indomie Nodu factory. He said, no, you can't pass that place. But Obasanjo was there. To what extent did Ota people enjoying the fact that their son or their resident or their neighbor was president? But you go to a stone throw to Bell University, you see wonders. To Abeokuta, you see Presidential Library, you marvel. So when people begin to say, is the turn of North, is the son of South, they are not talking of you and I. They are talking of the same political class. So maybe the tail has been taken away from their mouth.
So typically what you're saying is that your region producing a president is not a guarantee you will get a good deal.
No. Okay, I ask you.
So why is it so really? But then shouldn't the whole country be getting a good deal, not just the region?
Yeah, that's the point I'm trying to make, that this kind of conversation is happening simply because of failed system. That's why the political class sold this conversation to us, that is the turn of South. Now, I ask you, Alex, between 2015 to 2023, when Buhari exited, the whole entire northern region, were they better off? Pre-2015, now. There was no banditry, there was no insurgency, there was no security issue. Even the Boko Haram, who bet Boko Haram? The northern region. So when they talk in the turn of region, the turn of one particular region, and you look at the trajectory, and you realize that it's when the Southerners in power that all the Northerners will look at it as if it's not doing anything. But Obasanjo was merely in government. Remember, Akweme was very loyal to Shagari throughout. But have you seen a Northerner being loyal to a Southern president, even the military? Babangida was changing, he changed Akweme, he changed the BTQ, he changed even Abacha in prison there. His second in level. If not, Obasanjo happened to be the Obasanjo. Allegedly, he had to prostrate for Atiku before he can be given 2003 election. And Atiku has been the common denominator in all these things. When Buhari started, We were talking about body language. Every northerner kept quiet. There was no coalition against insecurity. There was no coalition against poverty. There was no coalition against lack of education. There was no coalition against lack of everything. But northerners will always come together, coalition to take power, to grab power. But when the southerner is deputizing a northerner, everybody kept quiet. This Tinubu will have ruffled the net. 2016, 2017, but he kept quiet. Not that Buhari was a fantastic president. We all saw the whole thing. Tell me the infrastructural development in 8 years of Buhari that you can witness in North. But today, Jonathan, we can look at Federal University Kashere, Federal University Guzu, Federal University Dusimat, Federal University Duze, Federal University Binekeb, everywhere in the North. Still, you didn't like them. But Buhari that brought insurgency, banditry, so many, you can't move. It was Jonathan that did the train from Abuja to Kaduna. But it's a bad leader, because it's not from the North, it's from the North. Tinubu was just 1 year, not up to 1 year. Atiku has started gathering people, Erufai and co. What is happening to Erufai? ×2 was happened to Tinubu. Immediately after 2012, he was ostracized from government. Everybody started lambasting. They didn't give him access to the Asho Rock. 2015, 2016, 2017. It was 2018 when defeat was staring Buhari at the face that he has to go and apologize to Tinubu again, and Tinubu agreed. And that's the condition they made, was he must change party chairman. That's what brought Oshomole in. Then Abiola issue of the recognition of 1993 victory. But Tinubu didn't rough the net. He calmed down. But why can't the northern people calm down for a Nigerian president and support a southern president?
So, I mean,
what is so difficult?
That's the big question. What has given them that sense of entitlement? That they must possess everything, even when they are supposed to wait for others to have their turn.
Fundamentally, we play into their hand. It's this same system that we have educational less disadvantaged states, which means the son of El-Rufai in the north will score 180. The son of El-Rufai will score 180. But we have to come and study medicine in UNN, Unizik, Uniport, Unibed. But the son of Alex Ogbodo, or the son of Ipanwan Tapa from Enugu Ezike, will score 280. They will say, no, you are educationally advantaged. You can't study this, you can't study that. The same country. But that fundamentally, that's where the thing started. But when you want to recruit, you won't give advantage to the educationally advantaged state, which means people in Kashina bring 5 because you have less educated people. Then people from Igbo State bring 30 because you have more educated people or graduates. You didn't insert that one into the constitution, but you inserted the fact that somebody in the state will score from under secondary school level. Somebody will score 42. The person will have admission to King's College Lagos, Queen's College Lagos, all federal colleges. But somebody from Enugu will score 150, 160. He won't be able to go because he's not cut. And that's where the thing began. That's why they began to have this mentality. I'm better than you. And the child will grow. You are in the same second primary school. The person is from Kashina, scores 48. He gets admission into Federal College of Education, Federal College Enugu. But my own son from Enugu State, scores 155, but is not allowed to go to Federal College. Then the child will grow up with this mentality that guy is better than me in the same country. And they develop like that. And at the end of the day, somebody has scored 300 in JAM will become a subordinate when they finally find themselves in ministry or in federal and the civil service. We become a subordinate to someone that scored 180. So how do you expect that system to thrive? And they grew up with that kind of mentality. And that's the result of what you are seeing here in Nigeria today. That's another. As we are now, forget politics. How many times have you heard that a Southerner is a petroleum minister? If not, Obasanjo came and said, I'm going to be the petroleum minister. Or GMD of NNPC. A Southeasterner has never been. A Southeasterner has never been a GMD of NNPC. It's strategic. Somebody from Kaduna will be. Kela Mayari from Boni will be. They don't have anything they call oil. Somebody from Southeast, a neighborhood to Niger Delta. Imo is Niger Delta. Imo is Niger Delta state. And Delta, Afia is Niger Delta. Recently, but they can be. There are some positions, forget presidency, there are some positions that if you are from east or you are from south, you will never be allowed. And that's how they made a lot of fuses about Nwike becoming FCT minister. Since when did you have a Southerner being a federal minister, FCT minister? That belong. And that's how they came. For the past 8 years, during the Obasanjo regime, Buhari's tenure, I didn't know the FCT minister was inactive, but we didn't hear him from any northerner. That's in 1 billion or so. For 8 straight years, nothing. But Southerner didn't say anything because what? It's one of our own. Because when it entertains their biases, it's good. When it doesn't entertain their biases, it's bad. And look at what Nwike has done. Thank God for Nwike. That's why most times you don't even kill your warriors. Because on the day of war, you will see who you call. Nwike is a warrior. And that's why you will standing them. And it's Transformer Abuja. They were themselves. Even when our own was there, what did he do? But they are more interested that this man is from water resources, agriculture. Has anybody been able to surpass Akiwumi, the additional, who later became African Development Bank president? Tell me, has anybody? When last did you hear that the Southerner was Minister of Agriculture, water resources? There are some positions retained for Southern and Northern Nigeria. You dare. Tell me, how come a Southerner has never been third fund executive secretary? Because we have money, all this money, Southerner, no. They will rather bring your own, no matter how. Look at it. Go through Nigeria. I'm not trying to degrade anybody, but look at the CV of professors down south and look at their fellow professors up. But those ones will come and they will come and give accreditation here. They come and do verification for us here. You have almost 60 publications. You are not yet a doctor. You are not yet a professor. But somebody with 15 or 12 is a professor and is coming to validate you, to accredit you. You get it? This is the problem we are having in this country. So it's not about presidency. The president is just one of them. He's just one of them. He's just one of them.
So what is the role of merit in selection process? Not just a political selection process, because the picture you have painted is suggestive of the past, is suggestive of the fact that this has been gradual. Something grew over time.
Yeah, exactly.
And now, if you talk about merit, you hear all sorts of excuses. Why is merit not on the table?
It depends on who is defining the merits.
Merit is merit. That's
yes, who define it?
But it does.
Who define? I've given you an example now that somebody will have 15 publications, is made a professor in a particular state, in a particular region. There's somebody with 50 or 60 is still struggling to even become an associate professor. Because the merit being defined there is not the same merit being defined here. Now, getting admission into federal university, for example, someone scores 210, is asked to go and study medicine because by merit, you're the highest in a particular region. Abi? But somebody who scores 300 is denied admission because by merit, defined by the same people, is not qualified. How do we define that? When last did you hear advertisement of NNPC, Third Fund, Federal Inland Revenue, NCCC, all these ones? You don't see them. You don't get to hear the adverts. But when you want to recruit people to Nigerian prison and water, those people that will be keeping You will see advert. The military, one population officer of Nigeria was saying Southeast are not taking up their quota in recruitment. That ordinary soldier. But you have asked us why Southeast is not taking their quota in NDA, in NCC, in CBN job. Let them say it. In NPA, Nigerian Port Authority, NIMASA. You should ask me why is Southeast not taking, but Southeast, you are not crying at Southeast so that you can send them to Boko Haram to go and die after 6 months. But at least Southeast say, okay, take your army, we not do again. Then announce. Say the same thing about NNPC. Say the same thing about CBN job, NPA job, NIMASA job, and all this NCC, third fund job. Ask that question, why is Southeast not taking their quota?
All right, we'll take a break here on the Eastern Eye. When we return, we'll find out from Dr. Dele Maxwell Ugwanyi how all this has affected our politics and how he thinks we can remedy this. Join us after the break. You're welcome back to the Eastern Eye here on Afia TV, a program that x-rays the political, social, and economic developments around us. My name is Alex Ogbodo. I still have in the studio with me Dr. Dele Maxwell Ugwanyi. So let's talk about these issues that you've raised, people being overly expectant and drawn to the fact that they always get what they want, thinking that it belongs to them as of right. So how has this affected our polity, and how do you think that can be remedied?
Well, it has always been my point, my position. We should do, because to us, everything begins and ends with the Nigerian president. It's not supposed to be so. At least we copied the American system, president, at least in a name. But we should also understand that this is not how it is practiced in America. Because everybody believes that the man who couldn't afford a Panadol to treat headache, the reason is the man who is the president in Abuja. It's not supposed to be so. So until we began to see that these things called a system is not a one-man show, I think the better for us. And this idea of a Messiah is somewhere who is coming to liberate all of us within 2 years, within 10 years, within 5 years, is an invitation to more heartbreaks. What we should understand in this country is to clamor for a functional system. Obama said the other day that the problem of Africa is absence of strong institution. But also, strong men build strong institutions too. We should clamor for a working system. I ask you, how many times have you seen a Southerner or a Southeasterner, a GOC in Enugu 82 day here? How many times let's look at it. How many commissioners of police are from South and North? From region, Southeast. Is it distributed evenly? GOCs across? Army across? How many times did you see a Southerner being the commandant of NDA, all the military formations? A president will not just come overnight and decide to wipe all of them away and put his own people. That's an invitation to mutiny too. So we need to begin to ask ourselves, this idea of quota system, if it doesn't stop, the larger picture of it, because the product of this quota system is what we are seeing today, the results. We need to begin to ask ourselves, what is actually wrong with us? And it must be a frank conversation. It must be a frank conversation that in the area of education, to what extent have we failed? Today in Nigeria, if you don't have strong political connection, you can never become a vice chancellor of a university, public university, even private. You have to know the bigger financier of that private university who will nominate. Nsuka recently got a VC, thank God, but it was stalled for over 1 year. Oka is yet to have, because of political interference. That's gradual is the beginning. Is beginning. In the next 10 years, if the thing is not caught, if it's not halted, it will have become a behemoth that anybody we now will begin to have VCs without CVs, and we begin to complain again. Before you become a HOD, a dean, somebody in government must nominate you. If you're a class rep, you must know somebody in government because this is how it starts. This is how it starts. That if a governor or a president or a minister or a chief of staff is not involved in a particular position in the university via chancellor, then you may not get it. Instead of you to flout your CV now, you'll be flouting your contacts. And that's where the university begin to experience further decay from what we have today. And that's why ASU is still the strongest today. I'm a member of ASU, a strong member of ASU. And I can tell you, Alex, we recently changed our leadership. The other person, the neighborhood didn't know. I was in Benin in May when we changed the leadership of our union. But the people driving through Lagos, they didn't know something was happening. It was seamless. Within 3 hours, you are not even allowed to talk about it. You are not even allowed to lobby. No candidate, no poster, no lobby, nothing. Within 2 hours, the election is conducted. Everybody, new leadership emerged. But we cannot say the same thing for Nigerian Labour Congress. They will throw stone, they will scatter everywhere. NBA, the other day, they were talking of when Akpata, they were talking of rigging everything. The other day, they were talking of Fubara giving them 300 million because they are hosting. We didn't even pay courtesy call to the government of in Benin. We didn't even pay anything. And that's how it should be. We know the next place, something is going to happen. This is the next person for this. But it doesn't stop a challenger. A challenger may come, but we already know where we are going to go. Then we voted. It doesn't, because everybody had democratic rights. But in Nigeria, the kind of money people are spending in politics cannot attract a genuine person. Cannot attract a lead. If you are not fraudulent, if you have not embezzled beyond normal, you cannot even think of being a governor. If the thought come across you, it comes to a man, it's a sign of malaria. So that's the problem. That's the malady. That's the malady. That's the malady. And we are going down the drain every day. So this idea of it must come from south, it must come from north. I gave you an example of Obasanjo. Are people of Ogun better off? I gave you an example of Niger Delta. I will talk if you're better off. He has a federal university for 2 okay. And so what again? What has been the benefit of people in Niger Delta? What has happened? The NDDC was even established by Umaru Yar'Adua. But now corruption granted the whole thing. They granted NDDC. Now what are people from, are they better off? The entire region, are they better off? Jada, the person where that people came, are they better off?
So let's talk about Nigeria's presidency. There's been a lot of talk about the necessity of having the presidency rotating among the 6 geopolitical zones. Do you think it will come to that? And you remember that former President Jonathan made a proposal, which was not, obviously, it didn't see the light of day. He was talking about it before he left office. A single
7 years.
A single, I think it was 6 years.
6 years.
6 years. A single 6-year tenure for the president, saying that this will reduce tension because when a president is seeking re-election, it looks like everything grinds to a halt. And is that what we're seeing now? Because nobody's talking about any other thing except how 2027 would go, whether the president will win or not. That's all we're hearing. Do you think that there will be enough political will to implement a single tenure for presidents and governors? Do you think that will help us have some peace and quiet in the polity?
No, there is this idea that says politicians think of the next election, while statesmen think of the next generation. It's something that is not a good advertisement for us, that a president, barely 6 months, people are already discussing next election, thereby causing distraction. Now, when you talk of presidents or how it is going to go, is too early, or the tenure system, Nigeria is not about absence of what is written. Our problem is absence of execution, implementation. When I studied law, I saw so many things. I said, so this thing is written in black and white. So this thing is written. So you go and study Nigerian constitution. Yeah, the whole constitution is perfect anywhere in the world. But when you read the one that is, let us even practice 50% of what is written in Nigerian constitution to the letter. Nigeria is better off. It's not about single tenure. It's not about two tenure. It's about who we are as a country. It's about who we are. Read what the Electoral Act, almost a near perfect something. I mean, if you have contested the election, if you didn't contest election, primary, you can't stand for election. But you saw what happened. The same Supreme Court interpreting what even a layman can read and interpret in the Electoral Act. You are in this party. After election, after their primary, you move to this party. It's against electoral law. But you see that they manipulated it. If you don't have certain qualification or you didn't obey certain provisions of the Electoral Act, you will not even be here. But what happened? They have a way of manipulating the whole thing. They maneuver the whole thing to their advantage. And you know, law is an art, so it depends on which one the judge attaches weight to. So it's not about whether it's a single tenure. What if we have a single tenure, and I know I'm not going for re-election, and you permit me to use this word, I dabaru the whole thing. I scatter the whole thing because I'm not coming for you for election again. And we begin to say again, because he knows, the president knows, or the governor knows that he's not coming again. That's why he's doing something like this. That's why it's scattered everywhere. That's why it's destroying everywhere. It's about who we are. It's not about the system. It's not about what is written down. Until we change our mentality. It's a fundamental thing, Alex. It's a fundamental thing. And I can tell you that. It's not about proposal. We have had enough proposal. Tell me any policy of government that is not fantastic in Nigeria. Give me one policy of government that is not a fantastic document. But let's look at the implementation of such a document. Zero. Look at Nigerian budget. 48 trillion naira, 2025. But what has happened? Enugu State, 900 and something billion naira. What has happened? Are you better off? Before you know it, this August, 4 months away now, 900 and something billion. We will not see how everything. Then 48 trillion. They are already preparing for the next budget. All ministries are being asked to bring their budget for 2026. But the one we had, what is the implementation? Who monitored the implementation? Nobody. So it's not about, I don't believe that whatever is written is our problem. I believe in the implementation, the execution. Look at the whole system.
But do you believe, Dr. Ugwanyi, do you believe that rotational presidency is possible in Nigeria?
It's possible, but it doesn't guarantee. The point I'm trying to do, rotation, I'm not against rotation. But my problem is it doesn't guarantee the presence of good life.
No, see,
but somebody, yes. We say, absolutely okay.
You know, it was actually like what a mother that brought that, but okay. I can understand. Wike is now is the current person. But the point is, there are certain regions of the country who are obviously marginalized. Not that it seems, they are obviously marginalized. And if the elections in Nigeria continue the way they are going, it is possible they may never produce president of Nigeria in the next 50 years. Things will crop up that will make it impossible for them to produce a president.
Yes, I agree with you. But we have macro marginalization, we have micro marginalization. If you come to Enugu State, for example, some people are marginalized. Like some local governments are marginalized.
Like who? Like
if you even go there, you even go to autonomous community.
Like what local government?
No, you even go, you know what I'm saying. In Enugu State, in Kano East, in Kano West, Abi, has produced governor, and Kano East has produced governor, and Kano West has produced governor. But the entire Ogu has never produced governor. Abi? Nsukka, the whole Nsukka, not Enugu North, one. So it's like that. It's not when you even go to autonomous community. When you go to
they've actually produced 2 governors.
No, wait. I'm talking of 1999. We started this conversation in 1999.
Yeah, that's true.
And so what I'm saying that we even go to local government. In my own ward, we have never produced a local government chairman, House of Assembly, I think just pre-1999, post-1999, we have never produced House of Assembly, we have never produced commissioner, we have never produced SA to governor, we have never produced anything apart from the councillor, the statutory councillor.
So that's
and we are one of the biggest communities in
with the votes.
You
have a big voting basket.
The marginalization, it depends on who is defining the marginalization.
So
it's both up and down.
That's what we're saying, because when I started the program, we talked about there is a flat rotation between north and south without the details of micro-zoning. So if you have an enabling law, the micro-zoning will be in place, isn't it? Even down to local government areas. If you have 6 autonomous communities, or you have, okay, let's assume if you're using wards to determine it, it will be worked out. Instead of the same set of people producing everyone that will take charge at different levels. And I ask again, what needs to be in place for Nigeria to enjoy rotational presidency so that people will stop pointing fingers at each other? So that names of streets that were given before independence, at least they can stop changing them. Knowing that, I mean, you can be president for just 6 years.
If by election, it's going to be absolutely impossible. Even if it's written in the law, it's going to be absolutely impossible. This is a political reality. Because you have to score 2/3, I mean, is it 25% of the vote? Do you know that if the South can gang up and deny a Northerner for becoming a president, going by the Electoral law or the Nigerian constitution, the North can also gang up and deny the Southerner from becoming a president. Because South has 19 states. I mean, South has 17 states. North has 19 states. So what if the entire South didn't give a Northern president 25%? Then there will be stalemate. If the entire North didn't give a Southern candidate 25%, there will be stalemate. And that's why I begin to have that constitution.
But you know that in real terms, that's not how it pans out. Because if you look at the way votes are cast,
I said gang up. I use the word gang up.
You have surprises here and
I said
there.
gang up. I didn't say naturally it will happen. But I said, what if they gang up? Which is possible. If they can come together and say, enough is enough. But you can define a system whereby it will be seamless. We have this geopolitical zone, for example. What if you have a president coming from south, north to west? Then we have 5 vice presidents. First vice president from southern Nigeria, second vice president from northern Nigeria, third vice president. Automatically, when the the president from northwest is exiting, then the first vice president is going in. It won't cause problem. That's why within this kind of situation, presidential system of government will not work for us. Apart from it's too expensive, it's too rigorous, then it's full of fraudulent practice. It can be manipulated. That's why credible, everybody is suspicious of the fact that there can never be free, fair, and credible election. Because of it has a lot of manipulative tendencies. But until we define a system that gives every region is independent of the center, we are all saying this because the center is too powerful. If you devolve power to the regions, assuming we have one Supreme Court in Southeast, Radio Nigeria, you have worked in Radio Nigeria before. Do you know if the director of Radio Nigeria the director of Radio Nigeria in Enugu here cannot spend 500,000 without approval from Abuja? that grounds operation. But assuming each region has everything. You have your IG police, you have just as way in America, every state has a mayor being there, every state has a Senate, every has Supreme Court, everything. As a matter of fact, before you can go to national politics, you must have cut your teeth at the state level.
That's right.
You don't just go. So what if you begin to practice such things? Because the problem we have in Nigeria that everybody sees the president. Remember, in our constitution, most of these things are, most of what legislative items in our constitution are concurrent. But how many of us are holding our governors accountable for lack of development, for head decay, for infrastructural decay? Everybody is Tinubu, Buhari, Jonathan, the person in National Rock. And if you begin to look at that, it will be difficult for all regions because Northwest has 7, Southwest has 6, 4, 5. Now, to what extent? Most of the majority of people in the Southeast are outside the Southeast. Tell me, how would they muzzle political leverage to face the remaining 5? Because it may come, somebody may say, we don't want this again. It's not working. And it permits me again to use the word dabaru. They dabaru the whole thing again. But we can enact a system whereby we'll be independent of whoever is the center. New York is not interested in who Donald Trump is. Florida is not interested in who Donald Trump is. And Texas is not interested. They don't bother because they have everything. If you have been abroad, if you go, let's assume you go to Germany. Every city in Germany is independent of whatever is happening in Berlin. You can't go from Düsseldorf, say that you want to buy something, then you must get to Berlin. The only thing that will take you to Berlin, if you're a resident in Germany, is when you want to get passports or you want to get visa to another country, because Berlin is where the embassies are. But in terms of your comfort, everything you need, everything you need at all. Unless you want to because Bonn, in a state, we have Bonn, Dortmund, and Cologne in one state. These 3 states are even more than Nigeria. Nothing will take you from Bonn to Cologne because you don't have electricity or you will need a good life. Because it says every state is self-sustained. Let us practice that one here, if it's possible. Now, the new government is ceding more money to the state. To what extent have they been using the money being allocated to the betterment of people in the state? We still think the center is the problem. So until we began to look at the fact that we can operate independent of the center. Police, we have our own police IG, we have commissioner of police that is not independent of the center. Better for us.
We really have to go now. I have to thank you very much, Dr. Dele Maxwell Ugwanyi, for your perspectives on the Eastern Eye tonight. Always a delight.
Thank you very much. Yes.
That's the Eastern Eye for tonight. We'll be here tomorrow same time for another edition of the program. My name is Alex Ogbodo. Good night.